guys, I'm Melissa and I'm back with another video. Today I want to share with you my weekly wrap-up of the things that I've read over the past week. In this week I managed to finish 3 things, I believe. Hold on. Yeah, 3 things, 2 audios and a physical book. And I made a lot of progress on something else. So the first thing that I finished over the past week was The Moving Finger by Agatha Christie. This is the 3rd book in the Miss Marvel series, and it's sort of about this mystery surrounding these letters that has sort of threatening messages in it, and it's set in this small village. So they try to dismiss it in the beginning, but then more and more shows up, and suddenly a body shows up as well. So they obviously ask for help, and yeah. Personally, this wasn't my favorite. I think I gave it 3 stars. I didn't love this mystery. It was okay, but it was not great. I don't know what I expected from these books, but so far I have only sort of enjoyed them, but not super. But I definitely see where some people definitely get their inspiration from when it comes to her mysteries, because they definitely have some interesting mysteries, and some you can see where people have found their inspiration from, but I just don't think that Miss Marvel is such a good character. If I sort of compare her to sort of Sherlock Holmes or someone else, some other sort of classic mystery characters that I've read books from and by, yeah. But yeah, 3 stars is still not bad or anything, but it's definitely not the best either. I hope that this series gets better as it goes. The next thing that I finished over the past week was New York to Dallas. This is the next book in the In-Death series. It's the first book and the only book, I think, so far that's published in the series that doesn't have In-Death in the title. That's really interesting. I always wondered why. But this is definitely a book that is exploring a lot of backstory to Eve. It's a very difficult book to read. So a short synopsis is that Eve Dallas is the first criminal he caught and got behind bars, has somehow sent her a message, but he's supposed to be in prison. But it turns out that he's escaped and he is now out for some sort of revenge, but he's trying to go back to his own patterns, showing that he's there again and he can do whatever he wants to, and sort of yeah, threatening Eve or in that way. But it also means that he has to go back to Dallas, where Eve is from. And something to know about Eve's childhood is very traumatic. She was neglected by both of her parents. Her father raped her when she was 8 or younger, and her mother knew this but didn't do anything about it, and obviously just didn't care for her, only thought about drugs and stuff. And now she's gone back to Dallas, where she's from, and she also had to sort of fight her own inner demons. And yeah, it's definitely a hard read to read, because it focuses a lot on Eve and her childhood past, but also the character we are following this from is a pedophile and has does things to young kids, but also people that he already captured back then that survived due to Eve. And obviously his goal right now is actually finding a way to capture Eve, obviously, to yeah, get his way. It was definitely rough reading it, and it was well written. The mystery was interesting, and it was, but the norm is that we have a lot of some sort of humorous, funny things happening alongside all of the hardships that makes the good balance and makes it more enjoyable as a whole. And I really missed the dynamics between Eve and her squad from New York. They were obviously in it a little bit, but they stayed in New York, so the conversations with them were minimal. The only people that went with her was Robb, who is her husband, and also Myra, who is a psychologist, had a large part in this, obviously, due to what Eve is going through in this one. But otherwise, there's a lot of the characters that are part of this usually that wasn't really in it super much, and that dragged down the rating a little bit. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, but I still enjoy it and I still recommend this series, and it was good and it was needed, I think, in terms of Eve's character. So in that way, it worked well for me. The last and final book that I read over the past week was The Gauntlet by Karuna Riazi. This is a middle grade standalone. No, it's actually a 2-book series, but it could be read as a standalone. It follows this kid who has this birthday, and on her birthday she thinks that she's having a party, and her aunt says that she has a birthday gift for her up in her room, and she goes up there and finds there's a board game there, and it was definitely different than the usual things that he got from her aunt, but she was really excited about it because she loves games. But it turns out that this is not the aunt's gift for her. It was something else. I don't know, I don't remember what it was, but it turns out that it's a game that comes to life, and it captures her little brother Ahmad, and so her and her 2 friends goes into the game trying to challenge the gauntlet and win it and so they can go back again. Apparently the aunt was the last one in this game, but she didn't complete it. She couldn't continue with it, so she was actually repelled from the game because she didn't want to complete the challenges. Yeah, but it was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. It is definitely a good middle grade book. I think the target audience would really enjoy it, and also it was interesting getting the sort of feels for the food. There was a lot of explanations about food, sweets and stuff from the Middle East. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars, so I definitely enjoyed it, but I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. But it was fun while I was reading it. It was super fast, and it was definitely a recommendation for people of the target audience, if you will. Yeah. So those are the things that I finished over the past week. I also read half of Trouble in Mudbug, I believe. I'm halfway through that. And then I started on Caressed by Ice by Nalini Singh, but I only read the first 20 pages. And last and finally, I read the majority of The Duke Returns by Eloisa James. I only had an hour left. I finished it today, but I'm going to talk about next week because it's not part of this week. I'm filming this on Monday, so I'm going to talk about that next week. But I read obviously majority of that one as well. So those are the things that I've been working on over the past week. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I've been talking about today, and what were your thoughts on them. What were your favorite book that you read over the past week? Or if you didn't read a whole book, what are you reading right now? Let me know about that in the comments down below. So yeah, this was everything I had for you today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.